if your access needs match the majority, they're designed into the building, into the event. And so you don't even know you have them. It's not until you find out that this wasn't designed for your access needs that there's a barrier. And then there's the idea that those barriers reside in the disabilities. One of my jobs as area accessibilities coordinator is to encourage more districts to have accessibilities committees because not all of them do.
I've heard it through the grapevine. Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine half-hour variety hour featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Hey, Donnie. Hey, everybody. I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
Sammy Whammy Bammy.
Do dammy, mama, do. Yeah, that it's not working.
I already got all of it in there with the Sammy Whammy Bammy. You got all the rhymes you can have. What's been happening with you, Sam?
I had a tough week. Physical health was suffering, but like the fever broke Thursday night. Friday, I woke up, I started feeling so much better, and I was able to get some work done and everything. And then Friday night is my home group meeting, and I was so happy that I was going to get to go to it. And not only that, but I had a friend fly in from Las Vegas, and I scooped him up at his hotel and took him to my home group, Shipwreck, in Palm Desert. It is a men's meeting on Fridays at 7 p.m. And because of other schedule conflicts, I haven't been able to do fellowship before Shipwreck much lately because I love this about my home group. It's coffee at a local coffee shop before the meeting, then we go to the meeting, and then we go to a burger joint after the meeting.
Oh, wow.
And it's always the same places so that people know where to find us. You know, even if you miss the meeting, you can't get to the meeting, you know, you can get to one of those as well. And it was just so much fun. Not only we had, I think 5 new guys, had people who had never been to the meeting, plus my friend. The conversation was fun and just laughable. I mean, so much laughing.
You get the recovery, you get the laughter. Did you shed a tear at any point?
As I went to sleep, as I was counting off my gratitude for the day.
Oh, you had a gratitude tear. That's good. You got all 3 in there.
It was a gratiteer.
It's a gratiteer.
You know, it really was. It was a perfect way to end a week that was a little rough.
Well, I love that about a home group.
They're important.
Yeah, they develop long-term relationships there and deep relationships. And it's a home group. I feel at home when I go there. It's rewarding and rejuvenating.
And that's a fabulous home group. It was mine for a long time, too.
It is. Sam, I know today's guest. He's the Accessibilities Coordinator for Area 51, North Carolina.
Our guest is Scott S. in Asheville, North Carolina.
And after that, we'll have our feature, Language of the Heart.
Now it's time for the news!
Did you know there are other podcasts by AA? Our Primary Purpose podcast by the General Service Office and Grapevine's weekly open AA meeting podcast.
Our Primary Purpose is the official podcast from the General Service Office, GSO, of Alcoholics Anonymous for the U.S. and Canada. Through interviews with GSO staff and voices from AA history and fellowship today, they explore how GSO supports AA to carry the message of recovery to those who need it most, which is our primary purpose. Search for Our Primary Purpose in your favorite podcast app or visit aa.org/GSO-podcast.
Grapevine also has another podcast. It's a recorded online speaker meeting every Wednesday at noon Eastern. The meeting has its own new podcast, Grapevine Weekly Open AA Meeting, available wherever you get your podcasts. Listen in your browser and get info about joining the meeting at aagrapevine.org/podcasts.
Have you seen the Grapevine Beginner's Book, Getting and Staying Sober in AA? It's full of useful suggestions, insights, and solutions for newcomers. The Beginner's Book features stories by AA members about what helped them get sober. and successfully navigate early sobriety. In this collection of AA Grapevine stories, AA members share insights and solutions to problems common to the newly sober. It provides solid tools of recovery. It's a perfect gift for sponsees and anyone new to AA. Only $14.99 at aagrapevine.org.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm an alcoholic from Asheville, North Carolina. My home group is Primary Purpose in West Asheville, meeting weekdays at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. And I keep trying to change the name to Primary Porpoise, but nobody's really biting on that one.
Our primary porpoise.
The graphics. Anyway, but yeah, that's in West Asheville. It's a discussion meeting most days. Wednesdays, it's a literature. Friday, it's a newcomers meeting, and that's gotten pretty big lately. A lot of people these days. So
That's an in-person meeting?
it is an in-person meeting. But thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Thanks,
We're
Scott.
glad to have you, Scott. Scott, I'm kind of guessing you weren't having the best day of your life when you came to AA. What led up to that? What was your drinking like?
I started drinking when I was about 11 years old, and really drinking was the foundation for everything else I did, and eventually ended up in New Orleans for college. And that decision made, yes, entirely based on the quality of the college. No.
Absolutely.
And suspected.
Entirely based on a walk down Bourbon Street one night, and I found myself caught in this loop where I was flunking out of school. I'd come back, I'd flunk out of school, and I was somewhere 7 years into a 4-year engineering degree when I got confronted by my parents and by other people in my life about this. And to get them off my back, I was like, yes, I'm going to do something about this. Never really expecting to actually be doing something about this. But exposure to AA meetings, I mean, there was all the other stuff, counselors and all that. And I could argue with them all day long. I was good at that.
Well, did you go into a treatment center or
I
something
did.
like that?
I did go into a treatment center.
So that's where you're doing this argument and
Yeah,
hearing
and
about.
I was shocked, let me tell you, to see like God in these things up on the wall.
Yeah.
and a little feeling betrayed. And I could argue with the counselors, but really the best thing they did was expose me to AA. They took me to meetings, they brought speakers in. Anybody else, all the counselors, they're like, you're going to need to do this. You're this way, you're this way. And I could argue with that all day long. But the AA people, they weren't talking about me at all, but they were.
Nope.
They were talking about themselves, and they were telling their stories. And the dirty trick is I couldn't help but identify.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to argue with someone when they're telling you their experience.
You can't, I mean, you can, but you can't really very righteously go to somebody and say, no, you're lying about yourself. Yeah. And so and I spent a few nights just really up fighting with this, because I knew it was me, and I suddenly knew how scared I was because I'd been kind of circling the drain for a little while, getting a little lower each time around, more destroyed vehicles, more destroyed limbs, more crutches, more casts, lost jobs, kicked out of school, whatever. And then I finally said, okay, they're suggesting this. I'm going to try. It's like, okay, God, take it. And I suddenly got very calm because I'd been pretty agitated for like 3 nights and not really sleeping. And I haven't had a drink since. And
Wow.
I wish I could tell you that I didn't have to actually formally work the steps after that I'd done it and everything was cool, but that's not really the way that story goes.
But was that a surrender where you felt something outside of yourself?
I felt suddenly very peaceful.
Mhm.
My roommate in treatment says he thinks I cried a little bit, and I maybe did. I don't know. It kind of freaked him out. It didn't freak me out nearly as much. It actually was a relief. there's a serious amount of relief in the first step. It's like, oh, I can stop doing this fight. I don't have to like drink and pretend I know how anymore. That's a lot of relief.
Or pretend like I'm not an alcoholic.
Right, right. And,
Pretend like I don't have a problem.
pretend like I know what I'm doing, or why I'm doing it.
Or that I can handle this.
It was a huge amount of relief. The big argument is like, this feels really irresponsible, like saying I'm not powerful over this, but like turning that over was a serious amount of relief. It was like, okay. I have ideas about where that came from. I don't really know, and I don't really need to. Yeah.
What did you do when you got out of the treatment center? Because then you got to go to your real life.
Weirdly enough, I went to meetings, which
That sounds like you took a suggestion.
here's the thing. This is why I think it's such a grace thing and completely not earned, but I don't know where that came from. Meetings were the only place that felt comfortable. So I went to 2, 3 meetings a day a lot of times because that's where I felt comfortable.
Well, and that's a great way to become a part of.
But as far as working the program, it was excruciating. I didn't come in really knowing how to do that much, like, go to school, have jobs, have relationships, have friendships, any of that. I actually asked somebody to sponsor me, and I asked him to sponsor me because he invited me to a party. And when I say invited me, I mean he gave me a flyer. It wasn't but I was like at that point just desperate enough that I asked him to sponsor me, and which turned out to be a really good thing. Alan, if you're listening. And eventually sitting in his place and going through the big book, and then it was time for the 4th step, and and he asked me, he's like, here, give me a 5th step for a Christmas present.
So that's an inventory, and then sharing that inventory.
Then sharing that inventory. And that was a pretty cool thing, because until that, I had no way of knowing where I was right or wrong or what, because I could argue 4 ways of anything in my head.
Yeah.
And finding out that I am indeed the only one responsible for my resentments was super powerful. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to believe that I'm creating my misery, because it felt like it was all being done to me.
There was that bit in the 4th column of like, for every resentment, there was this self-will of, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to have a resentment. I actually somewhere made a decision every time, and that it wasn't required. That is entirely self-will. That's not somebody making me do that.
Can you think of an instance maybe where you had an idea that you wanted to blame somebody else, but you came back and saying, oh, it's me. It actually is me.
Well, I'm married and have a teenage kid, so it shows up pretty much every day. And I do area service, so so yeah, it shows up a lot. I have lots of opportunities to decide that somebody else is my problem, and it's not like this happens automatically. I have to sometimes sit down and at least do some mental inventory and start with the base, almost article of faith that nobody's making me feel this way but me, and that somewhere I'm responsible for this, and there are things that I can change about what I'm doing or saying or thinking or feeling. I got to do that a lot.
Yeah, it's ongoing. So you're the accessibilities coordinator for Area 51. Tell us a story of how you got to the place that you were willing to do that.
This is kind of a theme in my story, is that if you have an idea, it will become your job. In AA. About, I guess, 2013, I was diagnosed with a tumor in my spinal cord and had the surgery to take it out. And so I'm a very privileged paraplegic because I can walk mostly, but I can't walk like I used to. And after kind of around pandemic time and when things started to open up, I found that there were meetings I couldn't get into that I really wanted to get into. And one After the pandemic, the church had decided that the accessible door would remain locked. From the parking, you had to go over a hill, walk up a hill through a cemetery, and then down a bunch of stairs. So when the idea of a accessibility committee for the district came up, my ears perked up, but it got tabled like that. And finally, I raised my hand and said, can we bring that back up? And I asked the DCM, and the next thing would you be willing to chair? And at the end of that term, they were coming around to the new service commitments at the area level. I was having kind of a vision of accessibilities not being so much about, oh, these poor people, can't we please help them, to, hey, we've got principles in AA. This is about principles more than personalities. This is about the third tradition.
Let's say the third tradition, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking.
This is about the responsibility statement.
The responsibility statement, I am responsible when anyone, anywhere reaches out for help. I want the hand of AA always to be there, and for that I am responsible.
And for that, I am responsible, apparently officially now. But and I really wanted to bring that. So I put my name in, and I really did not expect to get it. People started calling me and telling me that I had the job.
Well, all those jobs are people who are just willing to step up and say yes.
Absolutely.
I thought that they were people who were uniquely qualified.
Sometimes we're uniquely unqualified, right?
Uniquely unqualified. But if I say yes,
none of us know how to do these jobs.
Bingo.
Coming in. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of the ongoing joke is that, with your 2-year terms, and if by the time you're good at your job, it's time to rotate out. And I think that's a good thing, because I can't think of anything probably worse for my own ego than becoming the accessibility guy for Area 51. That wouldn't be good for me. And it probably wouldn't be good for the area either.
So that's why we have rotation. But I will say that you have brought a great perspective to our area in accessibilities in ways that I helping everyone to see ways of thinking about people who find obstacles to get into meetings that we just don't even think about because we don't have that particular obstacle in our lives.
Oh, and I'll tell you, one of the biggest obstacles to that is this kind of guilty, oh, we should have seen that, and we feel guilty, so people can get resistant. But the fact of the matter is, there's no way, if you're not experiencing it, that you can necessarily see this coming.
Can you give an example of a place that you have seen where we don't think about it, but just a simple thinking ahead makes it accessible?
Well, one of the things that I think is really important is people think these barriers reside in people's differences in abilities, because everybody has access needs. We all need air to breathe. We all need doorways. A lot of times I use the joke, but it's really worked out at our area assembly, is coffee. A lot of people in AA think coffee is an access need for them, and we don't notice our access needs
until they're not there.
If your access needs match the majority, they're designed into the building, into the event. And so you don't even know you have them. It's not until you find out that this wasn't designed for your access needs that there's a barrier. And then there's the idea that those barriers reside in the disabilities, but often they reside in decisions we make about meeting locations, certainly that architects make. And a lot of our meeting locations are pretty old buildings.
What I'm thinking here is it would be a really good idea if people, maybe GSR, were to ask their district accessibility chair or coordinator to maybe provide some information, maybe speak to their group about how they could better serve. One of the things that I learned years ago that was completely off the radar for me, chairs with arms. It was something so very simple that, chairs with arms help people stand up who have difficulty standing up.
I'm one of them. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
I've never thought of that.
One thing I'm not is the enforcer. I am not the accessibility police. Every meeting, every group is autonomous and really should be. But if you go to accessaa.org, there is a lot of information there on accessibilities.
Scott, thanks for all you bring to AA to help us see how we can meet alcoholics where they are.
Absolutely.
Language of the heart.
Hi, my name is Mandy. I'm an alcoholic from Tucson, Arizona. My sobriety date is April 3rd, 2013. My home group is Free at Last. We meet Tuesdays at 6:30. We're a literature group. Currently, we are reading the Plain Language Big Book. It's fantastic. One of my most recent trips through the steps, a 9th step amends, I made to my husband when we got married. I had debt I did not tell him about, lying by omission. That's one I'm guilty of. We don't always get better as we get older. He found out about it. It caused quite a lot of pain. I had to really go through that and find out why I didn't want to be honest, why I didn't want to hurt him, why I lied to him, all of those things. And it felt so much better afterwards. It helped my service commitments. It helped my spirituality. It helped my relationships with women in the program. About a month later, when the book talks about, the 9th step promises, I felt some of those through some of the 9th steps I've gone through and the amends processes that I've made in the past. This is the one where I really felt like some kind of earth-shattering effects. I had never felt a whole lot of self-confidence, right? Just being a woman in the world, whatever, alcoholic, all those things. I had been approached to go through the process of becoming a fitness instructor, but I had always thought, I'm not strong enough, I'm not pretty enough. No way, I cannot do it, no way. A little light crept in, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this to my higher power. I will go until I can't go, and then I will know I've tried my best. What an amazing gift.
I know I'm an alcoholic. My name's Chris, and my sobriety date is September 11th, 1983. My home group is the Woodbridge Big Book Group in Woodbridge, New Jersey. After being sober for a number of years, I came to another turning point emotionally, and the 3rd step kicked in big time to where you've probably heard I put my slippers under the bed every night so that I have to be down on my knees. Well, that's been my experience since somewhere in the year 2000, where I began rolling out of bed and starting my day with the 3rd step prayer and taking it to heart every day. That was a pivotal moment because it seemed at that point, God knew it was time for me to open up, take on some new responsibilities of sponsoring people, and actually going through the steps myself again, doing a more thorough inventory. It's just the way it happened. It was like hitting a bottom sober. The spiritual part of this program it's not a touchy-feely thing, right? The way I experienced it was, again, kind of like almost a spiritual bankruptcy. Sober. Everything outside was going great, but everything inside was not going great. We had a family. I have a job. My wife, everything, my relationship was good, but there was something inside that wasn't quite right, that needed fixing. And the program gave me the fixins.
My name's Darlene. I'm an alcoholic from Ottawa, Canada. My sobriety date is December 12th, 1995. And my home group is Tuesday night, Beacon Hill, and we meet at 7 o'clock. I think one of my most pivotal moments, I was in my 2nd week of sobriety. I remember exactly where I was. I was on my daybed with this beautiful dusty rose quilt that my mom made for me. And I was sitting cross-legged. And all of a sudden, I just said out loud to whatever power there was, I said, I don't want to be afraid anymore. And I recognized in that moment that my fear had everything to do with how I felt and it had nothing to do with drinking. When we talk about the ABCs, when we're reading how it works, in retrospect, when I look back at that moment, I felt such a sense of, I never, ever wanted to drink again, because I realized that I was an alcoholic, I could not manage my own life, and I had to have something that would help me be able to live a sober life. And I remember that distinctly. That line in our literature that said the primary fact we fail to recognize is our total inability to form a true partnership with another human being. That was my second pivotal moment, because my identification with our literature, I've never, ever, ever been part of anything that I could read and it spoke to me like nothing before, And when I read that, it was like, that's exactly what's wrong with me. It's not how much I drank. It's not what I drank. I connected with that statement so much, And I knew, that I never experienced that. And that gave me hope, That was like my second step hope, That I'm in something that will allow me, to be a part of life.
This one's from Victor S.
Take your left hand and place it on your left buttocks.
Okay.
Take your right hand and place it on your right buttocks.
Got it.
Congratulations. You've officially reached your bottom.
It's really not that funny.
Thank you for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole, but we do share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about Alcoholics Anonymous, visit aa.org or search Alcoholics Anonymous in your city.